I let you judge Pokemon Drag Race.
But they're my Pokemon?
At the start of November, I put together a cast of 12 of my favorite Pokemon and put them into a RuPaul's Drag Race season.
Except...
Instead of using simulators or judging them myself, I put them into YouTube polls for you to judge. For each episode, I nominated tops and bottoms for the week, and then I gave them to you to decide who would win the challenge and who would be
eliminated.
If you enjoy this type of video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out a lot and I would really appreciate it. But let me know, who do you think is most deserving of winning my heart and my crown? Let's find out. Okay, so let's get into the cast reveal for this season. I specifically chose 12 Pokemon that I love dearly. They hold a special place in my heart. I did try to get a decent enough type of variety. I love grass types, I love psychic types, but I did not make the whole cast that. So first up, we of course have Ninetales squared. We've got Cantonian Ninetales and Alolan Ninetales, and for those who don't know, Ninetales is my favorite Pokemon of all time. I'm planning on getting a tattoo of both of them together, and they are my divas, and I needed them here together because I also thought that would be kind of an iconic, like, twins, rivals storyline that we could play with, and y'all will see how that plays out. You'll love it. Next up, we've got Reuniclus and Glamora, and they are under the category of Pokemon that I have made drag costumes based off of. The first ever costume I ever sewed was a dress based off of Reuniclus, about 3 years ago now, which is crazy. And Glamora is a costume I have made, about 2 years ago now? I made the Glamora costume pretty recently after Scarlet and Violet came out, and it was also the costume I used when I revealed my name change to Aria Zero, which I thought was super fitting for it. Obviously, she has a special place in my heart as well, with my drag name being Aria Zero, birthed from Area Zero, so she had to be here. Next up, I've got my fossil girlies, Aurorus and Cradily, my two favorite fossil Pokemon of all time. Them in combination with Glamora could validate me being a rock-type specialist if I was a Pokemon gym leader, but I'm not. Aurorus is, I love a dinosaur. I grew up loving dinosaurs, and the long neck were my favorite dinosaurs. I'd always get their fossils in Animal Crossing. They were the best, so when they gave us a long-necked ice Aurora Borealis diva of a Pokemon, I knew that was for me, and I used her on my first playthrough of X and Y, and I don't care that she has a million weaknesses. I love her. Cradily was my starter, in quotation marks, for a grass monotype run I did Pokemon Sword and Shield when I first ever started streaming. So I love him. He's a little goober weirdo, and I just think that deserves to be repped. Next up, I've got my ghost girlies, the two that I don't have any plushes of, but I love them. Poltegeist, if you don't know anything about me, you would not know this. But if you know something about me, you would know I love tea. I have a teacup tattoo. I'm drinking tea as we speak. So when they announced a ghost teapot Pokemon for Galar, I'm like, that's for me. That's on my team. I need it. I drink tea every morning. I sometimes have I think I'm on my 6th cup of tea today. So that was for me. And Cursula actually was the 12th add to this cast. And in retrospect, there's someone else who probably should have been here who didn't make it on the cast. And I don't know why I didn't put them here, but I love Cursula. I used Cursula competitively for a little small tournament, and she was everything. And the concept of them giving us coral Pokemon in Gen 2, and then 6 gens later, they give us global warming, climate change, the coral reefs are dying, we're making a ghost version of this Pokemon. I just think that was a really powerful choice that they made, and I love her, so she's here. Next up, we've got my Garden Divas. Lilligant is my favorite monotype grass Pokemon. I've used her a bunch of times on teams, and she's a girliana, so I know you love her. And Vivian is my favorite bug type, and specifically the fancy Vivian is my favorite. She was my favorite even before Scarlet and Violet, and then of course Scarlet Violet gave her to us and said that's gonna be the form you get. And honestly, I wish there was the variety in that gen just because that's kind of the excitement with Vivian, and I know you can get them through special means, but if they're gonna give us one Vivian, I'm glad it was her, and these two just look so good together. Next up, Wailord and Skitty. I will not elaborate why they are on the same slide together. Wailord, I love whales, I have whale tattoos, and obviously there's like Kyogre for whales, or like Satitan now is a land whale, but Wailord really reps just a whale, just a lovely blue whale. He's a good guy. I used him as well on that competitive team, and I just love him. I think he's so silly and cute and goofy and brings something else to the table. And Skitty was one of my favorite Pokemon as a kid. I fully used a Skitty to the end of Alpha Sapphire without evolving it through the Elite Four. And Skitty really reminds me of my cat Tia. Out of all the Pokemon in Pokemon, if my cat was a Pokemon, she would be Skitty. So she's here to rep my cat, basically. And that's our full cast. I've actually divided them up top and bottom because for this season, we'll be doing a split premiere, and that top row is premiere 1 and that bottom row is premiere 2. You'll notice I split up the fossil girlies as well as the Ninetales squared just to create as much drama as physically possible. But let's get into the actual season now. So our first episode, Premiere 1, is Pop Stars of the Past. We're doing girl group premieres, and of course, because Aria Zero, the Scarlet Violet dichotomy of past and future would fit right into a split premiere theme. So that's what we're choosing. So we've got Pop Stars of the Past, and then Premiere 2 will be future. So here is our first premiere cast, and our nominees for the top were Ninetales, Auroras, and Glamora, with our nominees for the bottom being Poltegeist, Reuniclus, and Cursula. This really came down to Glamora's gonna do fine, because it's Aria Zero based, she's from Aria Zero, that makes sense. Auroras, she's literally from the past, so she should do great, and Ninetales is just a diva. So they were just 3 obvious top spots, which meant Poltegeist, Reuniclus, and Cursula all just kind of unfortunately landed themselves in the you're the other 3 available, and there's no reason why the top 3 would do worse than you would do. So they're there. I genuinely don't think any of them would do bad at this. You guys voted though, and you chose that Auroras would be the winner of this challenge, which honestly I can totally see. I really could see this going anyway, but with it being specifically past related, Auroras is the only one here that has explicit lore connected to the past. So yeah, how many times could I say past in this? Take a little sip every single time I say past. Ninetales and Glamora are keeping that high placement though. In this vote, no one got a safe placement just because it's 6 Pokemon, so 3 and 3. They're all getting critiqued here. For our bottoms, you all decided that the Ghost Girlies were gonna be lip syncing round 1, which honestly, y'all made great TV with that. I appreciate you guys choosing to save Reuniclus here. That is foreshadowing for the rest of the season, if I'm honest with you. Let's get into this ghosty lip sync. So our first lip sync song is Good Luck Babe. I chose this song because I knew y'all would know it, and I also really like performing this song. I performed it a few times and it's a lot of fun. It really has nothing to do with Pop Stars of the Past. I guess it's a little 80s-y sounding. I just wanted to pick it. And Poltegeist versus Cursula. You guys decided that Cursula would be the astounding winner of this lip sync against Poltegeist. Cursula got 73%, Poltegeist got 27%. I will add as well that these percentages are being taken in real time with when these episodes aired, so these numbers might be different now, but when the elimination got decided, this is what it looked like. Cursula overwhelmingly beat Poltegeist here, and I think it makes sense. Poltegeist is just a little teapot. I think Good Luck Babe with Cursula thematically makes a lot of sense. You know, good luck, babe. The earth is dying and I'm your evidence and good luck. You did this. Premiere 2, which we have Idols of the Future. It doesn't have the alliteration of Pop Stars of the Past, but you know, Idols Future, I thought it worked together. We've got the other 6 in our cast: Lilligant, Vivian, Alolan Ninetales, Wailord, Cradily, and Skitty. And this is another situation of those top 3 girlies are girlies. They're divas. Lilligant can dance. Alolan Ninetales, both Ninetales are divas. They're gonna do fine at this. And then Vivian, I was torn between Vivian and Skitty in the top, but I just think that Skitty is little baby girl and just maybe would have not written as good of a verse as Vivian would have been able to. Just not as strong lyrically wise. Wailord, Cradily, just they're not the divas like the other girls are. I love Wailord, I love Cradily. They're 2 of my favorite Pokemon of all time. That's why they're here. But for the win though, y'all gave it to Lilligant, which I agree with. If Cantonian Ninetales wasn't going to get the win round 1, I didn't think that Alolan Ninetales would get the win this round. And Lilligant, canonically, dancing diva. You know what I mean? However, I will say that this premiere does not exemplify the theme of future quite as well as Premiere 1 exemplified the theme of past. With this premiere, I kind of went into it being like Wailord and Cradily are going to be bottom 2. These premieres were randomized except for the Ninetales, which I wanted to separate really badly, and the Fossils, which I wanted to separate really badly. But I saw this and I was like, Wailord and Cradily are gone, and they are the bottom 2. As predicted, I thought, you thought, we're in sync, it checks out. Skitty got her low placement for, what's the word? Skitty got her low placement for vulnerability, and we love that for her, and we'll see if she comes back from it. This time, Our song is Idol. If you know, Idol is a banger, and I thought it made sense with it being idols of the future. I've never performed Idol, but I love this song, and that's good enough of a reason for me to put it here. Cradley versus Wailord, honestly, this could have been a double sachet. I don't think either one of these are selling these songs, but this song was decided before the premiere casts were decided, so here we are. Cradley won. Overwhelmingly from you guys, 75% to 25%. We've seen Cradley canonically dance in new Pokemon Snap. Wailord. I love Wailord so much, and I wanted him here for repping, but realistically, Wailord on a season where we're being logical, we're using our brains, we're looking at the challenges, just Wailord is not suited to Drag Race, unfortunately, which sucks. I probably should have given that spot to someone else, but I love him, and I have whale tattoos, so I needed him here, but it's okay. Cradley moves on with 75%. Wailord was repped here at least with 25%. You know, it's fine. Moving into episode 3, we've got the Sailor Moon parody acting challenge. I wanted to do an acting challenge, and we did Sailor Moon because I love Sailor Moon. I've got Sailor Moon art up on the wall. I have a Sailor Pluto tattoo. It's great. And then why would I not make it Slayer Moon? Because that's supposed to say Slayer, not Slayer, but Slayer Moon works too. That's exactly what Drag Race would do. They'd make it something like that. So we got Slayer Moon, and I actually paired them up with their characters so y'all could vote on that, knowing that information. So nominated for the top, we've got Skitty as Chibiusa, Ninetales as Sailor Uranus, Alolan Ninetales as Sailor Neptune, and Cradley as Tuxedo Mask, which, these are the divas. Of course, I had to make the two Ninetales the lesbians. So maybe they're not twins. Maybe they're dating. Who knows? I love that for me. And then for our bottom 4, we've got Lilligant as Sailor Pluto, because they both got the long green hair, Auroras as Sailor Moon, because I actually really wanted to make Auroras Queen Serenity, but I didn't have enough characters to make that function. So that didn't happen. Reuniclus is Sailor Jupiter because they're both green, and then Glamora's Sailor Mercury because they're both blue, and just Sailor Mercury can do this little like hologram spyglass thing that kind of resembles Glamour's face, I guess, to my heart. So that's that. In the background, I don't have a graphic for this, but Vivian was Sailor Venus and Cursula was Sailor Mars. And I just didn't see them doing badly. I think Cursula would slay a Mars, and I think Vivian and Venus would just be a fun character. I think they do it. They both have the V's in common. So starting with the tops, you guys actually chose that Cantonian Ninetales as Sailor Uranus would be safe. And this might just be that Sailor Uranus might be the least interesting character of the tops to y'all. I don't know. When I made this, I was fully prepared to give the Alolan Ninetales, Cantonian Ninetales double win, but that was not a fantasy that happened. That's fine. She was safe. She can be safe. However, Chibiusa is Skitty. I don't know why I didn't see that win coming. I kind of did. I just wanted it to be the twins because I thought that would be iconic. But Chibiusa is humanoid Skitty. That is like the most perfect casting I could have possibly done. Of course, she won with that. For the bottom 4, I really thought Glamora would be given the safe placement here by you all. Because people in comments were like, we love Glamora, love to see her here. She's gonna do so well. And I was like, really fighting with putting Glamora in the bottom here because I was like, oh no, I don't think she'd actually do that bad. But I'm like, oh, I have to sacrifice someone and I just can't justify that Cursula or Vivian would do worse. And also like, you know. Did you guys save Glamora? No. You saved Auroras as Sailor Moon, which honestly, fair enough, I'll give it to you. I just think Auroras wouldn't be airheaded enough to pull off Sailor Moon as well. Queen Serenity though, she would absolutely eat up. And because those are the same people, I'm fine with it. However, this does mean that we are losing either Lilligant, Reuniclus, or Glamora, which are all divas that I love dearly. But they're all divas that I love dearly, which makes this season very hard. Who did you guys give the low placement? Lilligant, which I was snatched by. I was snatched by this because I was like, Lilligant is doing the absolute worst in this challenge. Reuniclus, Glamora, bottom 2. That just hurt my heart. It was like a knife there. If I was judging, I would have given Lilligant and Auroras the bottom 2 placement here, which would have been drama because they were the winners for the first 2 episodes. It would have been tea, but I understand why you didn't. So we got Glamora and Reuniclus up against each other, the 2 Pokemon that I have outfits based off of. They're going up against each other in a lip sync battle to the Sailor Moon theme song, because why would we not do the Sailor Moon theme song on the Sailor Moon themed episode? Who wins? Remember when I said foreshadowing? Reuniclus wins. 58% to Glamora's 42%. It's a close match, but Girliana's, it did hurt. It did hurt, especially when I was like, Glamora is getting the safe placement this episode. I did not see her going so soon here. In fact, in my initial prediction of the season, I thought she was gonna win. But I'm also crazy. And I love her, so I can't be trusted. So let's take a moment to grieve Glamora. We love you, Girliana. We'll miss you. We hope to see you again someday. Episode 4. Fashion houses, you know, when they do those in Drag Race, I love those challenges. I love a creative design challenge. You'll get to know that from me over the course of this series. I love them. And my friend Opal Crumble was like, do starter types, water, fire, and grass. Because I wanted to do 3 houses, 3 groups of 3. Here we are, divas. Here are our groups. These were randomly generated groups. I randomly assigned them using a team generator. And then I used a wheel to assign their type to them. And this is how it came out. So, Team Grass, the house of Leaf, is Vivian, Auroras, and Skitty. And honestly, they're all divas, but they have such different aesthetics. Other than that, they're all divas. So, we'll see how that goes. The house of Wet is Cursula and Ninetails Squared, which I think is kind of Stunnalina. I think Ninetails, Kanto, and Cursula get along really well because they both just have ghosty vibes. I know Ninetails can learn Shadow Ball. And then, like, I feel like Alola and Ninetails is kind of what they would look like if they fused. So I'm kind of here for that. And then the House of Hot and Sweaty is Cradily, Reuniclus, and Lilligant, which are 3 of our green divas with orangey red accents. You know, we love that for them. And I think color palette wise, they are the most cohesive group here. But realistically, that's a grass type, a psychic type, and a grass rock type. Like, they are all, Immediately looking at this grouping, immediately looking at these groups, I was like, House of Wet, they're winning for sure. But then I was talking with my friends and I was like, know who could honestly eat up their challenge if we made these like regional forms? House of Hot and Sweaty. Reuniclus as a whole molten diva, which is, and I think that Cradily and Lilligant could do some cool stuff. However, this was the voting. And I can't deny that it makes so much sense. Like, I was French vanilla fantasying hard when I was like, that firehouse could be so good. Ooh, no, there was no universe in which they were not in the bottom. But our winning house is House of Wet with 57%. House of Leaf has 29%, so they are safe. And then House of Hot and Sweaty is 14% in the low placement. Now, moving into this low team placement, it's Cradily, Lilligant, Reuniclus. I gave them to you to decide who would be low and who would be in the bottom 2 lip sync. And to no one's surprise, Lilligant with 66%, and then Reuniclus and Cradily with 17% each. It makes sense that those 2 would be the bottom, especially when Lilligant would be such a design diva. We all know it. She would kill any design challenge. And realistically, she would only be in the bottom here because her team dragged her down. So it kind of sucks that she got this low placement, but it's okay. She can bounce back up from it with a better team maybe. Now, around the time of this episode, we had also recently been watching UK6. And in UK6, they did do an episode with a design challenge house where they made the winning house lip sync for the win. And you know what was really fun? So we're doing that. And that idea came from, again, from Opal Crumble, who was helping me with this episode. And Opal Crumble loves Zimzalabim. So we're doing Zimzalabim for Opal Crumble. Ninetails Squared versus Cursula in Zimzalabim. Who win? Y'all said Cursula, and honestly, y'all were kind of crazy for that. But I love it. This was absolutely done because people wanted Cursula to get that boost after the first episode of being in the bottom, but people also just wanted to fuel that Ninetails rivalry, and it's kind of iconic. So Cursula has 57%, Kanto Ninetails with 29%, and Alola Ninetails with 14%. So Cursula is our winner of the Fashion Houses Challenge. But our bottom 2 lip sync is Cure For Me by Aurora. We've got 2 goobers for Cure For Me, and both of these Pokemon are perfect for this song. They both love Coconut Mall, they both love Aurora, and Reuniclus loves it just a tad bit more. 51% to 49% is crazy, y'all. I'm gonna be honest, that little graphy down there, I don't believe that's a 49 to 51, but that's how close it was. That is how close it was. If I waited another day, it's possible it could have been Cradily or Reuniclus, swapping positions, you know? Like, if I judged it 2 hours earlier, maybe it would have been different. But 49 to 51, Reuniclus makes it through another lip sync, and Cradily goes home. Episode 5, Con Panels. Now, the reason we're doing a con panel challenge here is because I run a drag show at a convention, and conventions are fun, and I love them. we're not doing drag-themed panels here. We're doing panels themed based to the Pokemon. So here are our randomly generated teams. Team A is Vivian, Skitty, Lilligant, and Alola Ninetales, and Team B is Cursula, Cantonian Ninetales, Auroras, and Reuniclus. Thematically, with how this challenge worked, I decided that the Pokemon would be tasked with coming up with their own panel and then presenting it. So it's a big ask of them, but they're not real, so it's fine. And I don't like using ChatGPT very much, but I just didn't have any brain power, and I was like, let's just see what it says. And so these con panel themes for these specific groups was given to me by ChatGPT. So if you hate that, I'm sorry, and you're fair for that. But I was working a lot. So Team A, it decided that they would be doing a beauty and charm one because they're all gorgeous divas and cute cutinas. So fair enough. And then Team B got the theme of Mystic Realms because we've got a psychic type, we've got a ghost type, we've got one from the past, and then Ninetales is associated with folklore legends. So it checks for them. And I let you all vote on which team you think would win. And you picked Team B, Mystic Realms, which I agree with, but I'm surprised with. Because I thought that Team A, Beauty and Charm, would get the win because they're all such girly-girlianas. But y'all all decided that they were all just pretty and wouldn't necessarily be able to put on a good panel presentation, which you ate with. And it's like, well, they're all pretty and they're doing a panel about being conventionally pretty? Meh. Team B, Mystic Realms, neat. So, our top 4, Team Mystic Realms, I let you vote on who you think deserved the win, and y'all picked Reuniclus. Do you know how funny this is? Low, nothing, bottom, win for this track record for Reuniclus right now is iconic. But you gave her 37% of your vote, so she gets the win. Ninetales was close with 28, and then Aurora's 21, Cursula 14. I didn't give anyone a safe placement here because this is a team-based challenge where they all work together, and I just thought that would be kind of lame. For the bottoms, similarly, they'll all be minimum getting a low placement. You chose Vivian and Skitty for the bottom 2 with a tied 19% vote. Alola, Ninetales, and Lilligant were safe with their 29 and 33%. So you put a butterfly and a cat up against each other to jump up Superstar from Super Mario Odyssey. I picked this song because of course we're doing a convention-themed challenge, and the convention I run a show at is an anime, gaming, pop culture, geeky culture convention, so I wanted to pick a song that repped that, and this song, so good. Who wins? Skitty. Not quite as close as our last lip sync, but we're having a lot of close lip syncs now with 58 to 42%. Vivian goes home unfortunately, but Skitty did have a win, so it makes sense. But Vivian, girliana, you are doing great in this competition, and I'm proud of you for getting here. So let's move on to episode 6, which is Project Diva, a Hatsune Miku musical, because ooh, I love Hatsune Miku. I'm getting back into my geeky era. I'm allowing myself to like the things I used to like, and you know, I was so into Vocaloid in junior high. I was one of those cringy kids, and I cut myself off from the things I loved, and now I'm back. We love Hatsune Miku. We're doing a Hatsune Miku musical. We've got 7 Pokemon here, so we can do the 6 primary Vocaloids of the golden era of Vocaloid, plus Kasane Taito, because she's not a Vocaloid, but she is that diva, and she deserves her moment in the shine here. So let's talk about our nominees for tops and bottoms here. For our tops, I did a top 3 and bottom 4. Top 3, we've got Auroras as Hatsune Miku because of Project Voltage, which if you don't know was a whole Pokemon X Hatsune Miku collab where they did a Hatsune Miku art for every single type of Pokemon and paired her up with a Pokemon. For a rock type, she was paired up with Auroras. So out of all the Pokemon here who didn't get to be paired up with Hatsune Miku, Auroras did. They are going to be playing each other. You know what I mean? We got Lilligant for Luca. They both start with L for their name, and they both got long hair. This is one where I kind of just had to like fit the last few Vocaloids to their appropriate Pokemon, and it just felt the most correct. And then we've got Skitty as Kasane Taito, because who would do a better Kasane Taito in this cast other than Skitty? They're both pink pinkinas, they're both little sillies. Skitty has that energy where she can pull off Taito. For our bottom, you know I had to make the twins, Rin and Len, as double Ninetales, so I did that. And then I was left with Kaito and Mako, and I decided that Cursula would do Kaito and Reuniclus would do Mako, just because it fit. You know, Reuniclus has red in him, and Cursula has white in him, so just, if you flopped the characters, they would not look as good next to their Pokemon. So it was just vibes. Who did y'all choose to win? The Project Voltage diva herself, Auroras as Hatsune Miku, the lead role of the musical, and it makes sense but Lilligant and Skitty do both get their high placements still. Lilligant is finally getting out of her low-ligant era where she's got a bunch of low placements, which is great, but Aurora's, unfortunately, for everyone else, has snagged her second win, and that's exciting for her. For the bottom 4, one of these will be placed as safe as per your votes. The Pokemon that you all said would do the best in this Rusical was Alola Ninetales as Rin. Now this is when we began to see the allegations of Alola Ninetales favoritism, which, fair enough, y'all, I understand. However, at this point, she has no wins, and she could have had wins by this point if there was favoritism, so I don't know about that. Realistically, if I was judging this, I would have had the twins lip sync happen here, because they are obviously characters that are going to rely on each other, and I don't see how one does fine and the other doesn't do fine enough. However, I guess they both did fine because you put Reuniclus and Cursula into the bottom together, probably just because they have the least memorable characters and the least connected to characters. So, Cursula, Reuniclus, they've both lip-synced before. They're lip-syncing to World Is Mine, which in my opinion is probably the most iconic Hatsune Miku song ever. And who wins? Reuniclus. 52% to 48%. This was a close one. People were fighting for their lives over who would win this lip sync. And Reuniclus survives another lip sync. Now for episode 7, I wanted to put in a comeback challenge and a makeover challenge. And so taking a spin off of season 7 Drag Race where they did conjoined twins makeovers with the opportunity to come back into the challenge, we are doing Pokemon fusions. So I have gotten fusions from the Japeel fusion generator. I will put a link to their fusion generator down in the description below, so make sure to check it out if you haven't. It's a silly fun time. I paired up all of the Pokemon randomly with another Pokemon that had been eliminated, and then I fused them together, and I picked the best fusion of the two because you can fuse them in 2 different ways. I picked the best one for each one, and these were the 6. Now this is a very controversial episode, y'all. This was controversial. Top 3, we've got Reuniclus mixed with Poltegeist, Vivian mixed with Skitty, and Alola Ninetales mixed with Glamora. Bottom 3, we got Cradily Lilligant, Cursula Aurorus, and Wailord Ninetales. Y'all were mad. Y'all were mad at these nominations. You were all like, Lilligant Cradily is so much better than Poltegeist Reuniclus. And I'm not saying I like Poltegeist Reuniclus, I think it's fine, but it looks more cohesive than Lilligant Cradily, which really, something about it makes me uncomfortable. And maybe it's just the way that I see it, but imagining like Lilligant's beheaded head on the end of that stem, and then you can see Cradyly's little green tentacles, like green colored tentacles now coming out from behind it. It's gruesome to me. Whereas Reuniclus Poltegeist just looks like a goblin fetus, you know? It's not offensive. I could see that being a real Pokemon. Whatever. It's fine. It came down to this is how my heart saw it, and it's fine. You did all, however, overwhelmingly vote for Alola Ninetales Glamora to win this challenge, which does mean that we got to see Glamora back in the competition a little bit sooner than one might have expected. I was so glad that pairing happened because I was very certain that that was going to win, and they did. So my girl Glamora is back in the competition. Love that for me. You all voted for the bottom 2 to be Cursula Aurorus and Ninetales Wailord. I think that makes a lot of sense. They are objectively the worst out of these 6. Ick. Wailord Ninetales is kind of fine, but ick. Now, that controversy I was telling you all about before, about y'all saying that Lilligant shouldn't be low and Reuniclus shouldn't be high here, I did listen, and I made them both safe. So, no low placement for Lilligant, no high placement for Reuniclus. They are both just going to get that 3 on their PPE average. That was my way of mitigating it, because I can admit when I have the unpopular opinion. I'm fine with that. I understand that. It's all good. So let's talk about this lip sync between Aurorus and Ninetales. Aurorus has 2 wins. Ninetales has none. We're lip syncing to what I've been looking for, the Sharpay and Ryan version from High School Musical, because Sharpay and Ryan's version is better than Troy and Gabriella's, because I don't like Troy and Gabriella. You know, actually, I'm not going to get into my whole High School Musical opinions. You all voted. And you voted for Aurorus to stay with 67% to Ninetales 33%, which is honestly closer than I expected it to be. I thought it was going to be a blowout of Aurorus just knocking Ninetales out of the competition. But what are the odds of Alola Ninetales gets her first win and Cantonian Ninetales gets eliminated in the same episode? We all wanted that Ninetales lip sync together, but we didn't foresee the idea of a Ninetales win Ninetales a limb in the same episode. That was tea, and you gave it to us, so I appreciate that. Episode 8, we've got roast battles from Canada versus the world. This is a really fun concept. Instead of just doing a generic roast challenge, they get paired up and they have to roast each other, and someone wins the roast and someone loses the roast, and that defines their tops and bottoms. So I randomly generated these teams once again. Team A, Skitty and Auroras. And you all voted for Skitty with 65% to Auroras' 35%. I kind of saw this fantasy where I was like, Skitty is a little mischievous kitten, and I think she could be a shady boots, you know? And Auroras just is mama. She's mother, she's Queen Serenity, she's pageant girly, and I think she could give a good read, but I don't think she wants to give a good read. And I think Skitty doesn't know she wants to give a good read, but when she gets into it, she's like, ooh, I love this. So she's high, Auroras is low. Our next duo is Glamour and Alola Ninetales, which is really fun because they were just paired up for the makeover, and now one of them's gonna be putting the other one into the bottom. Who did you all vote for this one? Glamoura with 57% to Ninetales 43%. I think this checks because you know what? Glamoura is a poison type. What's shadier than a poison type? A dark type maybe? I don't know. Poison tongue. Makes sense. I don't think she has a tongue because she's a flower, but she's also a rock, so she's like a crystal. Anyway, you get the vision. Plus, rock is good against ice. Poison is good against fairy. Glamour is beating Alola Ninetales. I thought this was going to be a bigger blowout than it was, but I think this is where that aforementioned Alola Ninetales favoritism happened a little itty bit, but that's fine. Our final roast battle is our Green Greeninas, Lilligant versus Reuniclus, and y'all gave it to Reuniclus with 62% to Lilligant's 38%, and I honestly agreed with the outcome of all three of these battles. I think Reuniclus can serve comedy and write a good joke, and I think Lilligant would struggle with comedic timing. I don't think Lilligant's very funny. I think she could be mean. I don't think she needs to be mean, but I think she could if she wanted to be. But I think she would struggle with a stand-up challenge, so this makes sense to me. I put all three of our winners of the roast battles together, let you vote on who would win the challenge, and y'all picked Skitty overwhelmingly with 54%. Over half of you voted for her, and so she gets her second win of the season, which is exciting for her. Glamoura and Reuniclus are still in the competition, both gaining another high placement. For our bottom three, I let you pick who's low, who's lip-syncing, and you all saved Auroras, which is very kind of you because she just had to lip-sync last episode. Alola Ninetales hasn't had to lip-sync, and neither has Lilligant, also known as Loligant. Love that diva, but she has not had a good run this season, and realistically, she's been screwed by her team a lot, but it is what it is. Let's see this lip-sync to It Girl. Y'all, I love It Girl. I don't care if that song is like in the past now. You can put It Girl into almost every song. I have done a mix of It Girl with the Swordplay Showdown from Wii Sports Resort at a drag show. Stunning. Know what else I mixed It Girl into? The Sailor Moon theme song. Also stunning. So I felt it was only appropriate to have it repped here in our season based off of my favorite things. And Alola Ninetales won with 70%, overwhelmingly. Ice beats grass. Alola Ninetales was doing better in the competition than Lilligant was, so it does make sense to me, unfortunately. So let's talk about our final competitive episode before the finale, episode 9, the Crystal Ball. I want to emphasize before we get into this that all the challenges and lip syncs are decided before we started the actual voting of the season. So I could not have known that we'd have 3 dictionary definitions of Crystal Ball divas here in this challenge. And I could not have known that Glamour was coming back for this challenge as well. But Auroras, Glamour, and Alola Ninetales are the obvious 3 who can possibly win this challenge. They're all serving Crystal Ball. For the Crystal Ball, I specified that it'd be 3 looks. Look 1 is Evolutionary Stone, look 2 is Terra type, and look 3 was gonna be make a outfit based off of a Steven Universe gem. One of the crystal gems, you know? So we got that Crystal Ball all throughout here. Who win? Alola Ninetales with 43%. Glamour was so close to getting a win right before the finale. Other than that makeover win, she had that 39%, and Aurora's 18%. It's fine. All 3 of these are the design divas of the century. It's Over, Isn't It? From Steven Universe. Skitty versus Reuniclus. This song, ooh, it's powerful. I performed this song as well. I love Steven Universe. I have a Steven Universe tattoo. And I thought it was an appropriate lip sync for our final one before the finale. Skitty versus Reuniclus. Skitty has lip synced once before and survived. She beat Vivian. Reuniclus, this is either his 4th or 5th lip sync at this point. I don't even remember. It's crazy out here, y'all. But the lip sync assassin of the season was finally defeated by a cat. And people in the comments, someone said Skitty really channeled her contest days with May and got the emotion for this song. And other people were saying that It's Over, Isn't It is the perfect wrap up to Reuniclus's journey on the season with how much they were in the bottom. It's over, isn't it? It's my time to go right before the finale. And I'm proud of Reuniclus for lasting this long, because in my projection, they were third out. But I'm happy they got love, and honestly, they gave us an iconic track record. So let's get into episode 10, the finale. So before we get into the actual finalists, we're going to talk about the mixed congeniality. The 4 nominees I did for you all to pick from was Cradley, Wailord, Vivian, Reuniclus. Cradley, because I just like Cradley, and I think that they could be a kind little nice friend. Wailord gives, Wailord gives that first out miscongeniality energy. And I wanted her to get more recognition for being on the season. Some of y'all forgot she wasn't even here. Vivian, I just think is nice. I just think she's nice. All of these I just think is nice. And this is, I'm gonna be honest, purely based off of vibes. And you know, Vivian did well in the competition, but then went home kind of early. And then Reuniclus didn't do well in the competition, but everyone loved her. So she got nominated. Who did you all pick to win? Vivian, with overwhelmingly 45%, almost half the votes for her. Reuniclus in second with 29%, then Cradley with 16%, and then Wailord, 10%. 10% of the votes remembered you existed, Wailord, and I'm happy for that because you deserved it. Vivian is our mixed congeniality of You Judge, Pokemon X RuPaul's Drag Race, Aria's Faves, Season 2 of the Poll Race. We love that for her. But that's enough of her. Let's get into the finalists. I'm going to talk about each one of them, how many wins they have, what their PP is, and it's going to be great. So, Alola Ninetales has the highest PPE with 3.5 points per episode. She won 2 challenges. She won the makeover, and she won the crystal ball. So 2 design-based challenges. Skitty is our next finalist. She has 3.13 PPE, the worst of the finalists, which is crazy. She also has 2 wins. She won the Sailor Moon acting challenge as Chibiusa, and she also won the roast battles, which is kind of an iconic combo for her. She clearly can pull off acting and comedy, so that's great. Next up, Aurora's 3.38 PPE, also 2 challenge wins. She won the very first episode of the season, which is the Popsters of the Past girl groups, and she also won the Project Diva Hatsune Miku the Rusical, so she's showing versatility. Actually, I'm lying. She did 2 musical dancing wins. So we've got a designer, we've got a comedy, we've got a musical dancer, and we've got Glamora, who missed half the season, came back. Her only win is in the makeover with Alola Ninetales. Got back into the competition, but placed high for the rest of the time she was here, and she actually has the second best PPE with 3.4, which is impressive because one of her episodes she got a 0 for. So she kind of ate y'all up with that. I think her track record was high, a limb, win, high, high. And then she's in the finale. So I love that for her. But I let you all vote on who you think would make it into the finale. I specifically stated that they would be requested to do a talent show number. So to base it off of that and who you think deserved the finalist positions the most. And you all voted for our Ice Girls, Alola Ninetales and Aurora's. Alola Ninetales in first place with 39%. Aurora's with 29% in second place. Skitty just closely behind with 25%. And then Glamora, she got 7%. She was a comeback queen. She wasn't going to make it into the finale, and I can accept that. So, let's move on to our final lip sync of the season. We have Alola Ninetales versus Aurora's 2 A Million Miles Away from the movie Belle. Belle is a really important movie to me. I don't want to get into the whole thing with it, but one of the first cosplays I ever made was Belle. And it's a drag cosplay. It was my profile picture for a long time. I did a whole Belle set at the big show I ran this year. I did a whole Belle number for a pageant I did last year. So I just needed Belle represented in here somewhere, and I chose to have her for the finale lip sync, where if people didn't really know the song, people are gonna vote with their heart of who they think should win anyways. I did link y'all to the song. If y'all haven't seen the movie Belle, oh, it's beautiful. It is beautiful. So, A Million Miles Away, a beautiful, heart-wrenching song, a ballad. Both of these Pokemon could eat this up. Who did you all pick to win? Drumroll, everyone, please, for the winner of You Judge, Pokemon X RuPaul's Drag Race, Aria's Faves, the season I did in honor of November being my birth month. The winner is... Well, that was useful. So, I let this poll run for over 24 hours. I said, I'm gonna check it right before I record, because it was back and forth, flippity floppity, 49 to 51, 51 to 49. And right before I went to record, I checked it. 50-50. So what does that mean? What does that mean? What am I supposed to do with this, y'all? 50-50? I can't do a double limb. I can't do a double save. It's the lip sync for the crown. So I gave you options. Option A, double crowning. Maybe they both win this season. That's excellent. They're both icons. They both have 2 wins. We've got a Rusical Girl Group winner and a Makeover Design winner. Lovely. Double crowning, maybe this is the time for it. Or, if you voted for Alola Ninetales, Alola Ninetales is your winner. And if you voted for Aurora's, Aurora's could be your winner. It is a choose your own adventure of how you want to see the end of the season because I'm not gonna pick. I'm not gonna pick. It's you judge, not I judge. I just nominate. So, let's look at this track record. As you can see, Aurora's and Alola Ninetales, I put them both as winner? Question mark? Because they are winner. But they might not be, depending on what universe you live in. If we look at this, we can see the win distribution is actually pretty well spread. You can see Lolagant with her win, low, 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 high, safe, a limb, which is sad. You can see Reuniclus with low, bottom, bottom, win, bottom, safe, high, a limb. Also crazy. And you can see how Glamora ate the competition except for the day she got eliminated, and then she got to have a little rest stop. So that was cute. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like, and if you really enjoyed it, you could even subscribe. Also, let me know down below who you thought was gonna win the season and who was robbed, because I know some of you think some people were robbed, and honestly,
You're kind of right for that.
we do have a season coming for December, so get ready for that. It's not exactly holiday themed because last year we did do a holiday Pokemon Drag Race simulator, but it is, shh, if you know what I mean. Also, here's your secret lore for making it to the end of the video. The Pokemon who I said I would have replaced Cursula with was Magnezone because I love the magnets, and honestly, I don't know how they slipped by my radar when I was making that cast, but maybe they'll be in a future season. We'll have to wait and see. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Bye, friends. We just jam into this music, y'all.